Aha. Finally, are we going to get any picture or anything? What do we reckon? Hey! And finally, we're live! Good morning. Hi. Good morning, YouTube. Well, this is a little bit different, isn't it? Oh my goodness me. Right, well that took a bit of doing. You can see we're looking a little bit different today. We've had a little bit of move around. We've got all sorts of things flying around and yeah, really good. Got a bit of sponsorship going on today. I wish I had sponsorship going on. Come on, Mr. Warnes, give me some sponsorship, please. World of Ukes, Carlisle, go shop there. Talking of which, I did once upon a time. Here we go. So there we go. I have my ukulele with me. I hope you got yours with you today. Because we are actually going to do some work today. We are going to have a live stream, 7 minutes in of me trying to set up the live stream, but there we go. We're looking a little bit different way around today. We've got a nice sort of pro light. Have you seen me nice lights? Yes, thank you, Andrew. Got me nice new, that side, there we go. My nice new amplifier, my mini amplifier. Thank you, Murphin. Really like it. The minions have got their own special place. There's a few of them still looking out over the top of my head, though. But yeah, so we try to make it a little bit different today and try to learn another one of these lockdown learnings where you'll notice we've got lots of things scrolling across the screen and it's looking all a bit pretty. So drop us a comment. Let us know, please. Let us know if you can see it all right. Let us know if you're watching. Let us know if you can hear it. Okay, should be all right. New camera, same microphone. But we'll see. We'll have to see. Strange. I've got this setup. I've got two screens, so I can kind of see what's going on. I've even got the laptop on, to be honest, because we thought, what was going on? So, I hope you got your ukuleles. Hope they're in tune. Mine is kind of in tune. And today, our workshop today is all about, it's called Cor-Melo. I don't know why it's called Cor-Melo, it's seemed a good idea. It's about chord melody. And chord melody on the ukulele is the combination of well, chords and melody. It's a way to accompany yourself. So the idea is that you can play a tune as well as playing the chords. Now, by the wonders of YouTube and OBS Studio, hopefully now we can just do this and, well, hey, there we go. So I go a little bit smaller and we have a little bit of a change of screen and, you know, you might be able to see they've got the comments over there, but I'm not even sure they're the right we'll see. Somebody leave me a comment and I'll find if it pops up and then we know that it's the right comment. We'll know that it's the right one. It's the right, that it's all working. The idea of doing this today is to try and make it look a bit better, but also the other reason we're doing it like this is that because now, although there is a resource sheet, you don't actually need it because I can make the tab pop up. And I did have the resource sheet, but I've thrown it on the floor. It's halfway across the music room. The resource sheet is available on the website on UkuleleRocks.co.uk or Ukulele Rocks More, as it says down there on the screen over there. Everything's sort of in reverse, sort of down there. But I quite like it. I quite like it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off with this first piece called March by the Sea. And March by the Sea is a very simple, punny sort of piece. I like our puns in ukulele land. And you're going to need a chord of C. Now, if your tab reading is a little bit rusty and you're not quite up with it, remember that tab, as it says there, is kind of upside down for us. So the top line of tab is the A string, whereas on the ukulele, of course, the bottom string is the A. The number 3 on the tab, just very quickly going through it, means that we need a finger in fret number 3. It doesn't really matter what that finger is, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to use our 3rd finger, because at the moment, it's often easier in tab notation if you use the finger that goes with the tab. Later on, we're not going to be able to do that. You'll see why when we get down to one of the other pieces. The last piece, actually. If it says an O, it's an O, not a 0. It means it's an open string. So you just play the strings openly. So in the first piece, March by the Sea, it's all about thumb control, your right hand thumb control. because in the first bar you can see we're going to play that whole C chord and then 3, 3, 3. So very simple tune. In the second bar, the second section, we've got to stop the thumb from playing the A string. We can keep our third finger down, and what we're going to do, we're going to use the A string as a kind of safety net. So just have a quick practice of that. We're going to drop down it, hit that A, and use it as a landing pad, a safety net to stop us going on. We don't want to play it in the second bar. We're going to play the 3 strings. Simple as. Okay? In the third bar, you can see we're going to start with that chord of C again for all 4 strings. And then we're going to jump to the C string. And finally finish with 2 chords of C, with a bit of a longer gap between them. In tab notation, sometimes you can notate with standard music notation. By that I mean crotchets and quavers, and they can go underneath the score. Or, as is the case here, you kind of have to judge the spacing between the notes on the tab. So if you look at the last section, the last bar, you'll see that those 2 are further apart, 4 dashes apart, than the other ones, which are 2 dashes apart. So they're trying to indicate that you should leave a longer gap between them. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That idea. So the whole of March by the Sea is going to go like this. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So you should hear at the top that little melody line up. So that's our melody, and the chord underneath it, of course, is the when we're playing the open strings to it. So let's have a go at that together. Ready? 1, 2, off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Simple as that. And as always, there is a backing track. So let's hop over onto UkuleleRocks More, and it's on a page, a strange page actually, it's called Tab Time 3, the page on UkuleleRocks, but the backing tracks are all there, and they are a bit of fun. I'll just turn the volume up a little bit, and let's try it with the backing track. Here we go, and I do believe there's a counting on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wasn't it? Yeah, I was quite surprised myself, that one. I quite like that one. It just chomps around. It's quite happy. Easy one. So the idea is we started off with a single chord. Now, by the wonders of modern OBS and all the rest of it, we can get rid of that. Hopefully. Bye. There we go. And the next piece we're going to look at is called Steady As You Go. Now, in Steady As You Go, you can see that the chords are notated above the tab. Now, sometimes this is a little bit easier. It's a bit more intuitive to read. It also helps with the shape of the tab notes to make the chord. For instance, if you see 2010 on the tab, it's a lot more confusing than saying, play an F chord. Okay. Now, in this piece, the chords are fairly straightforward apart from the dodgy old E7 at the end of the line. So let's just have a quick go through the chords as are notated there in red. Let's see how that works. So first of all, we have an A minor chord, your second finger on the 4th string in the second space. A minor, trying to show you there. I do like this new camera, it's quite sharp. You can see everything, that's quite nice. And then your chord of F. Well, your chord of F, you're just going to drop your first finger onto the second string, chord of F. Yeah. A chord of C is next. Well, we know our chord of 1, 2, 3 makes a chord of C. Ba-bum. And now to get to your E7, there's a little bit of an easier technique. You take first 2 fingers off, slide your third finger back, and then you've only got 2 fingers to locate. Your second finger on the C string in the 2nd fret, and your first finger on the 4th string in the 1st fret. E7. Now if you look below me on the tab, you'll see where it says E7. That is notated. That 1, 2 are open string, and then 2 on the A string. But it is a bit of a tricky chord, I'll give you that. Let's just go through those one more time. A minor. First for A minor chord, then the chord of F, then the chord of C, and then our E7. So there we go. Now the melody around that, again you'll notice, all stays on the A string to try and make it a little bit easier, a little bit more accessible. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the full tab part together, the chords and the melody, starting from the beginning, starting with that first A minor chord and then continuing in the first bar on the open A string. Let's try it. Ready? A 1, 2, slowly go. 1, 2. Now the F chord, still on the A string, C chord, and here's that dodgy E7. And do you remember that theory from before? They're spaced out a little bit, so they've got to be a little bit of a longer sustain, a longer note on them. The second line of tab, much the same. And finish on an A minor. There we go. How was that? Okay. So not too challenging, just that dodgy old E7, but it is a great chord to learn. I do believe it's a grade 2 chord if you're going to do the exam and things like that. It is a grade 2 chord that you should be able to be doing. Do you know, I have no idea whether this is actually working or not. I have you on this wonderful screen in front of me, and then over this side, actually that side, I have the YouTube analytics and the live streaming going on. Ah, right, so that's what's going on. So my pop-up over there doesn't work, but my pop-up on YouTube does. So thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea, for saying good morning. And Rog, yes. Oh, I am here, Roger. Thank you. Still having a bit of technical difficulties, but never mind. We'll see. There is a little bit of a lag between the live stream and YouTube, but that's fairly common, so that's all right. I don't really mind that. All right, so let's have a little go at Steady As You Go with the backing track. Let's just hop over onto the page again, and Steady As You Go is on tab time 3 again. And starting with your A minor chord, and I do believe it's quite a quiet piece, this. Let's have a go at it. Ready? Oh, hang on a minute. I think this is the really silly one with no backing track, but just me playing. Let's have a listen. 1. Yep. 3. It is. It's just me playing. There is no backing track, which is a bit good because then you can do silly things and you can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want to do that. For some reason there is no backing track to that. Never mind, let's try it. We'll try it without the backing track. A minor, please. Ready? From the beginning. 1, 2, steady as you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E7. A minor. Finish on A minor. How was that? Bit more melody in that one. You can hear it just on the open strings there. But yeah, I quite like that one. It's the next one I like. The next one, I've got to admit, I do like the next one. I keep hopping around a bit to find my comments a little bit. The next piece is called A Minor Lament. It's a short piece, and again we have that quite challenging E7 in there, and it's not too dissimilar to Steady As You Go. Similar chords, similar structure. It's just to give us more practice and get a bit more confident at doing this chord melody. The idea of combining your accompaniment with your tune. That's what we're really working at today. But I'm pretty sure this one, because it's not that hard for us to do following it, has got a better backing track. Oh yeah. That's strings, isn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there we need to stop, because I spoke at the start about tab notation, and I said that at the moment it's better if it says 3 on the A string, better using your third finger. If it says 2, use 2. Therefore it's not as confusing. However, in the last bar you will notice that there is the number 5, and doesn't take a genius to work out 1, 2, 3. We've only got 4 fingers that we can use. Well, 5 just basically means that we've got to go up into the 5th fret, and you can do whatever finger you like in that last bar. The 3, slide the third finger up, back to the A minor. It's up to you. You could do your first finger, but then there's a further distance to get back. You could use your 4th finger and just stretch up, and then if you've got nice big wide hands like I seem to have, you can see you can always stretch over straight across. But that's a much easier thing. I do prefer, actually, I like to slide that 3rd finger, I have to say. Just thought a minute, just going to do some jiggery trickery pokery over here, and then hopefully, will that work? No. Yes. Good. No. Yes. Yes. Yes, it will. There we go. That's it. So I can keep my comments up, and I can see what's going on, and I can get the backing track up as well. Right. Good. Sorted. So let's have a look at this. Again, quick fly through the chords. A minor, the F, the C, and that slide back technique to get back into E7. Remember, slide back off that 3rd finger. It's a little bit like when we've done G7 in the past, when we've done workshops on learning G7. When you're going from C to G7, just sliding, keeping contact with the string to slide back to get that G7. For us, it's E7, 1 finger difference. So let's try the chords. A minor, 1, 2, 3, A minor. F, 2, 3, and F. C, 2, 3, and C. E7, please, and slide back. There we go. So it is more or less exactly the same progression as the last piece. Is it the last piece? Steady as you go. Can we have a quick look at Steady as you go, please? Steady as you go. A minor, F, C. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There you go. You see? So, yeah, it's exactly the same progression. No apologies. It's just a good way of practicing it. All right, a little quicker. This time, let's add the full tab in, and let's get that melody going at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, C, slide back, A minor, F, and here's the slide to 5. There we go. Quite like the musicalness of the little slide. I hope you can pick that up. We've got the expensive microphone on today. Little slurpy slide around. Let's try that again. 1, 2, off we go. There we go. Yeah, it does sound. That kind of sounds quite sweet. Let's try with the backing track now, with all those strings. This is a bit of a sad. I mean, this is why you've got the puns here going. A minor lament. Well, it's A minor lament because it's in A minor. And lament just meant a little bit of a sad piece. Let's have a go. Can you hear the backing tracks all right? Somebody let me know, please. Thank you. Here's A minor.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Repeat. Do you like this bit? There we go. bit of an end there. Thank you, Roger. I'm glad you can hear the backing track. That's good. Yes, I hope you didn't hear me hit the wrong string at the end as well. That was it. Yeah, I was so busy on my musical slide, I kind of sort of bummed up a string at the end. But not to worry, not to worry. So that's a minor lament. I do quite like it. I'm getting on all right. I quite like our little OBS setup here. It's a shame about the old comments not working. I'm not quite sure why they're not working. Mind you, I'm not actually quite sure why it didn't link straight to YouTube, but we'll see. Different computers, it's all a little bit new, all going on it. But we're coming to our last piece today, and our last piece is a little trickier. It is Drunken Sailor. Now, Drunken Sailor, as you know, you can basically play it with a minor key and then the major chord underneath it. Shall I start that again? A minor chord and whichever major chord underneath it. So, for instance, you could do it in A minor, falling down to G major underneath it. You can do it anyone. You can do it in B minor, falling down to A major. It's really up to you. But for us and for the ukulele, it tends to work best with a chord of D minor. And I like to finger D minor like this. So here's your chord of F, and drop your third finger onto the third string in the second space. Just means you've got to squash it back. If you want to do the old 1, 2, 3 fingering, absolutely fine. Whatever works well for you. So your first finger on the second string, your second finger on the third string, and your third finger on the fourth string. That's your what I would call the 1, 2, 3 fingering. But for the moment today, I'm going to do the chord of F, dropping in. Now the other chord we need with this is a chord of C. Alright? So that's the basic idea of it, that we have this. Shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken? The tab part looks a little bit like this. A little bit small, add a little bit more to get on, I'm afraid. And you can see that the top picks out, or rather the tune is picked out at the top of the chord there. The trick is keep the chord shape down while you're picking through the melody and picking out the individual strings, and it'll sound really good, I hope. And the other thing that I've done, I'm a big fan of this, I'm a big fan of re-entrant fingering, so that as much as possible you use what the ukulele is good at, which is this re-entrant G, this open string. So which is why when you get to the last bar on the first line, we use all those open strings to ring and ring and ring. We could use a stopped note, we could use a stop G, but we kind of use just to really get as much sustain out of our instruments as we can. On the second line, you'll notice it's the same in the first bar, and then you have to move. So in the second bar, the second section or the second line, I like to actually change my fingering there. So we do our chord of D minor, and then put my first finger to cover the second fret, second finger to cover the third fret, and my fourth finger to cover the fifth fret. And then I keep there for the next bar, keep still in the same finger, same hand position, 3, 0, 3, 0. So I'm going to use my second finger. So we've kind of gone against that technique we discussed at the start about using the relevant finger to fit the relevant tab number. Well, sometimes, you know, rules are there to have exceptions. So I was reading a great quote online about that yesterday, and I was trying to attribute it to somebody. They said that, you know, for every rule there must be an exception or something, but it hasn't actually been attributed to anybody. There's sort of variations of that, but it's true. For every rule there must be an exception. So in the next to last bar, when it says 3, we're going to use our second finger. And one last thing, because I know from experience from teaching this many times, on the second line in the second to last bar, you'll notice there's only one chord of C in the whole of that bar. It's not, it's just a bit muddy and it's a bit trickier to play with trying to get your fingers around that. So it's just one chord of C, and try and hit the right string. Honestly, amateur hour. There we go. I'm obviously rusty. Alright, so let's have a little go through the first line to put the chord and melody together. So that's chord of F, drop your third finger in to make the D minor. So let's have a go. Remember, all using your thumb to pick out the tab part, the tab melody bit. 1, 2, off we go. What shall we do? The drunken sailor. Chord of C. All the open strings. Back to our D minor. Change hand position. Stay there for the next bar. One chord of C. There we go. How was that? It's a bit more challenging. It's a bit more interesting. Let's have a go through it. Let's do it one more time, and then I've got one extra little thing to add to it for you. Right. D minor chord at the start. Here we go then. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. What shall we do? Chord of C. How was that? Okay? Good. So I'm sure there's plenty of you out there watching this. Well, not plenty at the moment, but I'm sure there might be plenty of people watching this eventually who will find that quite easy and not very challenging. So I've got one extra thing for you just to think about, and it's about your right hand technique. Because we have done in the past workshops on Pima, classical picking, where we sort of attribute one string to each finger, thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger. And you can kind of do this in your chord melody playing. And it works well here. So in the D minor, instead of just using our thumb, you can actually use your fingers. So you are finger picking your way through it. Now, I've got to admit, I prefer just using my thumb on my first finger and my second finger. I suppose you could. You can use a full Pima idea if you wanted to. Looks really unnatural here. I've got such a bend on my wrist because I'm trying to hold my ukulele high enough for you to see it. But I'm going to just do my double crabby claws, we like to call it sometimes. My first finger and my second finger to do the finger picking. Just makes it a little bit easier to get under your hand, under your fingers. Try it. And again, whatever works for you. Whichever you find easiest, you try it. I think we'll have a little go now. We'll do it a little bit steadier because it is a harder piece. You can take it away and you can practice it yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. What shall we do with the There we go. And I'm smiling because if anybody thinks I tried to play 2 chords of C, yeah, I did actually. But I stopped myself. I did stop myself. Alright, so we've had a busy old morning and things have looked rather different today. We can go back and looking rather different. There we are. All nice and big. Oh, and the sun's come out. Finally. It's dreadful the weather down here in the middle of the UK this morning. There was a guy building a boat going past. It was raining so hard. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. Now, I always forget to say this in my videos, so I'm going to say it now because it says it down here. Please, please, please subscribe. please subscribe, and press the bell icon, and you'll get some notifications when we're going live. And because there's a few more happening, a few more workshops happening. We might do some repeat of some of the older ones as well. But also, I also want to try and promote the old fancy pants OBS. It's called OBS Studio. Yes, we're going to try and do a little bit more with that. And also, I'm going to have a bit check. So if it's been a bit strange today, my apologies. It can only improve. It can only get better. I'll have a look back at it, listen to it. One thing that does concern me, it looks a bit laggy. So I'll have to find out whether that's any better or not. I do quite like the idea of using it so we can get all the music on screen when we need the music on screen, because I realise that it's not always convenient for people to print out the music and the tab notation. Well, I might have a little look at the layout of this screen as well, just to try and improve it a little bit, because we don't need the comments over there really, so they could go. I did have that pointed out to me this morning. Yes, the small monstrosity in our house came in, who's very IT savvy, and said, well, he works in IT. He says, Dad, what have you got your comments for? Because your comments will pop up, you can have them on your other screen, the one that's over there. Like, oh yeah, good idea, son, I'll say. So listen to your children. Anyhow, let's call a stop, shall we? Well, I hope you enjoyed that today. Please leave me some comments, leave me some feedback, let me know how you got on with it. If it all falls tumbling down, we can quite easily go back and do a very standard stream and using a standard method of doing it through YouTube. But, I thought it's good to try these things. But for today, enjoy the rest of the day as it dries out. I hope it dries out where you are. Ta-ra.